العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, in today's talk, we'll talk about a few incidents from the life of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu. And the reason I like to talk about those incidents is because of, in general, it's good for us to understand the kind of a leadership that Islam provides us. And Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, he is the leader who has his khilafah spanned over 10 years. And at that time, that spread very rapidly to, in general, the whole Middle East, part of the Africa. We see that Islam started spreading during the time of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu. And the part that I like to talk about today is a famous part of his era, which was about he used to patrol in the streets of Medina. And the relevance of those patrolling of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu in the streets of Medina is that we understand that how in Islam a ruler is supposed to rule over the people and he is concerned about his subject. And as the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول. Every one of you is a shepherd and every one of you has a subject. فالإمام راع وهو مسؤول. And the imam or the khalifa, he is the ra'i, he is the shepherd and he is the caretaker of the whole ummah. Meaning, he is the one to whom Allah Azza wa Jal will hold him responsible for his subject. And the hadith goes on defining the mas'uliyah or the responsibility of different people, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, whether it's a servant. And every one of them is given a subject to take care of. And the hadith at the end says, أَلَا فَكُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ. And every one of you is a shepherd or caretaker, and every one of you will be questioned about the subject that he is holding the responsibility of. Whether it is the husband, whether it's the wife, whether it's a servant, whether whatever your position is, you have a subject. And above all, al-imam, the one who is ruling over the ummah, is the caretaker, and he will be questioned about what he did. And this is one of the things that we see it very distinctly among the ones who ruled by Islam, the Khulafa Rashidin specifically to say, and afterwards the other Khulafa also, but Khulafa Rashidin, the rightly guided Khulafa when we talk about, and Umar bin Khattab was one of them. And in the time of Umar, when the authority of Islam was spreading rapidly, and hence we start seeing different kinds of issues was rising as well. That includes the security of the people. That includes there were people which are the outliers within the society, they were doing the stealing also. Hence, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, we find that he used to do the patrolling in the streets of Medina. And that was done in the time of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, as some of the riwayat talk about, which is called the policing, providing the protection to the ummah. In the time of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu was the chief to take care of this specific position. But when Umar radiallahu anhu, he became the Khalifa, he took this position to himself. And we find many stories, and I'll just mention few inshallah today, so we can relate those stories to today's time as well. Because that's the purpose of us talking about the Sahaba's lives. So we can relate and we can strive to be like them. So Umar bin Khattab radiallahu an, we find his stories that either he is with his servant Aslam walking in the streets, or sometime he took Abdurrahman bin Auf radiallahu an, one of the greatest Sahaba. And he was a Sahabi who was a very affluent, rich person. And he was, along with the Khalifa of the time, he is roaming the streets of the Medina for what? To provide protection to the people, one. Second, to understand that what kind of, if there are any issues which are hidden in the daytime and they appear during the nighttime, so he is aware of that. Because during the daytime in general, people are up. So people are up, they are guarding many things. But during the nighttime, sometimes most of the people are sleeping. For that, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh started. And some of the scholars even to go to the extent, Umar is the one who started really this department of policing actually. The one who, or which is called the department of police. Now, a few, inshallah, the incidents. One time that it was narrated by Aslam radiallahu anh, that who was a freed slave of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh. So Umar said that some merchants had came to Medina and they camped outside. They camped in the prayer place. So he said to Abdurrahman bin Auf, shall we go and guard them tonight? And he went there. And he heard a child was crying. He went to the mother and said, take care of her, the child. And then he moved away. And then end of his patrolling, he came back and he heard the child crying again. So he said to the woman again, take care of your child. Why are you? So she said that he is asking for milk, the child. And she was not giving him the milk. And he asked the woman, why was she not giving him the milk? And the response of the woman was that she is trying to wean him of the milk. And Umar said, why you are trying to wean? Because she did not know he's talking to Umar bin Khattab, by the way. And her response was that because Umar only gives the stipend to each child after they are weaned of the milk. Now Umar bin Khattab radiallahu an, he hastened and the next morning in the Fajr time, while he was leading the Fajr prayer, you can hear him sobbing during the prayer. He's crying during the prayer. And then he announced that, and he was crying, and then he told the people, go and announce among the people that the child does not have to be weaned. The moment the child is born, he will be given the stipend. And he said, how many children Umar has killed? Subhanallah. This is the kind of a mentality of the one who was ruling by Islam had. And this is what we see in the time when Muslims were ruled by Islam. That they took care of even every child that was born, that was given a stipend, if the state has the wealth, of course. And Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh, he was taking care of the children this way. Then one time, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh, again he was patrolling the streets of Medina, and this is a famous incident. Many of us have heard this story, but I'd like to talk about part of the story that a lot of times is not mentioned. And we don't realize what is the impact of that part of the story. And that story is about when he was walking in the streets and he saw a fire from far. So he said to Aslam, let's go and check it out what's going on there. He went there, he heard the children were crying. And the woman is sitting by the fire, and there's something in the pot, she's cooking. He asked for the permission, say salam to her, and asked for permission, can he come closer? And she said, if you are coming with a good intention, you can come close, otherwise stay away. And he said like this, Ya Ahl Daw, Assalamu Alaikum. Instead of saying, because in Arabic, the word for fire is nar. So you could say Ahlun Nar, but Ahlun Nar can have a wrong meaning as well. So he said Ahl Daw, the people of light. He said salam to them. And then he went closer and he asked, why these kids are crying? She said, they're hungry. Then he said, so why don't you feed them? So what's in the pot? And she said, there is no food. Only thing she has is water in the pot. And she is heating them up so the kids will be in the hope of food. They will just get tired and fall asleep. And subhanallah, and after that, she said something very interesting. She said to Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu an that Wallahi baynana wa bayna Umar. She said, by Allah, meaning on the day of judgment between us and Umar, Allah will judge. And Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu an, he is the Khalifa of that time. He said, she does not know this is Umar again. He said, how would Umar know the situation of yours? And her response was, he's the one who took charge of us. This is his job to take care of the affairs of the people. See that the subject of the ummah understood their rights, and Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh understood what is his responsibility as well at that time. And she said, when he took the charge, from there on, this is his job to find out how we are doing. Hearing this, Umar turned around towards Aslam, and they ran towards the treasury to get some grains, some oil, some fat. And then he made he wanted to put on his back. So he told to Aslam, help me to put all these things on my back. And the response of Aslam was, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, let me try, let me carry this burden. And the response of Umar bin Khattab was, are you going to carry this burden on the day of judgment? Meaning he understood this is his burden. He is the one who is accountable for this, to take care of the affairs of the ummah. Even a woman who is somewhere on the street with some children, and she is saying that this is his job to find out. He brought the food and then told the woman, prepare that food so he can cook on the fire. And he started making the fire. He started blowing air into the fire. And Aslam says, I could see the smoke is coming out of the beard of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh. And then he prepared the food. And then he asked for utensils, put the food in the utensils and made it cool down and asked the children to eat. And the children ate. And after that, the woman said to Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, not knowing she's talking to Umar, she said, Jazakallah khair, may Allah reward you, and you have more right to be the Amir al-Mu'mineen than Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh. Subhanallah. And Umar says, say something good, and if you go to Umar, you may find me around. Subhanallah. Umar did not want to even tell her that he is the Amir al-Mu'mineen radiallahu anh. And that's because of, he understood it well, that this is his responsibility to take care of the ummah. Similarly, another incident we see that Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, and he was patrolling the streets of the Medina, and he saw from far there was a camp, a tent. And the tent he did not see before the night before or so. And there's a guy outside, there's some fire, and there's some woman inside the tent, she's moaning because of labor pain. So he went to the guy and asked what's going on. And the guy goes, it's none of your business. Then Umar pushed more, because he does not know this is Amir al-Mu'mineen. So he pushed more. And then he said, his wife is giving birth to a child. And Umar asked, is there any woman to help her? And there was no woman. Now Umar goes to his house. Goes to his house, talk to his wife, Kulthum bint Ali radiallahu anhuma. Kulthum was the daughter of Ali radiallahu anh, who was married to Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh. And the way he's asking his wife is an amazing way. He's saying, would you like to get some hasanat, easy hasanat for you. Get some ajr. And the response of the woman was, of the Kulthum radiallahu anha was, if the husband wants, she will go. And then he told her that there is a woman who's giving birth to a child, and there's no woman there. So he asked her to bring whatever is needed for a childbirth. The cloths or the towel, whatsoever the kind of things you need, bring her with you. And he brought some food also, the grains and the ghee and the olive fat. And he sent his wife inside the tent, and outside he started preparing the food with the guy outside. He prepared the food. While they were preparing the food, subhanallah, the wife of Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anh says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Bashir sahibak bi ghulam. She said, O Amir al-Mu'mineen, give glad tidings to your companion about the son. The moment that guy who's a Bedouin, he heard she say, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, he started shaking. He got scared that this is Amir al-Mu'mineen. And he started backing up. And Umar stopped him. And then he said, take this food. He gave the food to his wife, Kulthum, and said, feed the woman. And after she was done, then the food was served to the guy. And then he told him, because this person, he told Umar also that he was there because he was there to collect some spoils of war from Umar al-Khattab. And he said, tomorrow morning, when you come to me, we'll take care of the needs that you have. So this is how Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anh was making sure that his subjects' needs are fulfilled the way they are supposed to be fulfilled. Now, this inshallah we'll cover some other time. I want to make sure that we understand these stories' impact at that time and today's time. Today we have leaderships. Instead of having one leader over the ummah, we are divided into 55 plus states. And over there we have leaderships. Over there, people are dying out of hunger. People are dying out of wars. People are dying because they don't have water to drink. They don't have medicines. And how much of an impact do we see on any of the rulers that we have? I don't have to give names. How much of their lifestyles have changed because of the hardships that they're going through? Are these the ones who have any really kind of a right to be the caretaker of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? This is something we have to think about. And then we are talking about Umar al-Khattab. The reason he is acting like that because he understands that he is responsible, he is accountable in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this accountability is the thing that was a driving force for Umar al-Khattab and later on the ones who ruled by Islam. They worried about the subject that they had under them. And the reason today we don't see that because first of all, none of them are implementing Islam. So now they have already taken this stance of not to rule by what Allah has revealed. So they are already in haram that they are engaged in. And also, we don't find them that they are the one who are even connected to the people, who can even feel the pain of the people. Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anh, he is walking in the streets during the night time, so he can find out how the ummah is doing. And if there is anybody who needs any kind of a security, he is there to provide. Now today, we find all those security only belongs to the ones who are ruling over us. And all those needs to be fulfilled are the needs of those who are ruling over us and being fulfilled. Even at the stake of starving the people to death, or having a life which is below poverty levels from I don't know how low the poverty levels are now. So if we want to learn from these stories, we have to understand that this is Islam that really gives the honor to the people, and if we don't live by Islam, Allah will dishonor us. As Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anh said, and I'll stop with this inshallah, He said, we were the disgraced nation. Allah honored us with Islam. And if we look for honor other than Islam, Allah will disgrace us. And unfortunately, these are the times that we are living in. And we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use us to bring Islam back the way we saw in the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Khulafa Rashidin, the way it was implemented and provided justice for the Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Jazakumullah khairan. If there is any